Welcome to Seize the Mains by Malhotra's IS Academy. I'm Surbhi Sardana and this is Season 3 of our Daily Answer Writing Initiative. This initiative runs in coordination with Ignited Current Affairs 2.0 where we discuss daily current affairs from all the important newspapers and magazines. That's a paid model and it occurs every day. Classes are conducted every day for Ignited Current Affairs. Both online and offline, so you can subscribe to this model. Otherwise, Seize the Mains initiative is entirely free of cost. All the content that we discuss on Seize the Mains is coordinated with our website. All the questions, answers that we bring to you with respect to your civil services mains preparation. We discuss mains daily answer writing here. So all the content gets coordinated, gets updated on our website rajayesacademy.com. This is a screenshot of our website. You can reach to us by following the link in the description below. On the website, you'll see this landing page of mains answer writing challenge. If you click on the mains answer writing section here, you will see this landing page of daily mains answer writing challenge. And here all the questions with their model answers have been updated. What you can do is, after going through today's video, just try to write your own answer to practice answer writing with us and post that answer on the website. The initiative is entirely free of cost, and in the next few days our team will evaluate your answers and respond back to you with their feedback entirely free of cost. So that's how you improve your answer writing practice or answer writing skills over time. Let's see what is the topic. Also, all these topics that we discuss on Seize the Mains from Monday to Saturday at 9 p.m. these are all from current affairs. So everything that you read in the newspaper on a daily basis appears on Seize the Mains as sample questions. So that is that can prove to be a lot of benefit for your civil services journey. The topic for today is the POSCO Act, or the Protection of Children from Sexual Offences Act of 2012, and the amendment also that was brought in 2019 that would be covered. So it's day 171 of Seize the Mains. The question with regards to POSCO is again, with regards to any act, you need to understand the shortcomings. The provisions of the act should be clear, the shortcomings of the act should be clear, and its functioning should be clear, and you should always be prepared with a way forward. So when it comes to POSCO Act, there is Vidhi Center for Legal Policy. They brought like a few months back, they brought a detailed analysis of the functioning of POSCO. Plus in 2012, 10 years of POSCO have been completed. 10 years of functioning of POSCO on ground have been completed in November 2022. So yes, with the Center for Legal Policy, they brought out a detailed analysis, and POSCO has been making news since then. So let's see what is the question. The question asks you what is the Protection of Children from Sexual Offences Act. Sexual Offences Act 2012. What are the shortcomings of the act and its functioning? Shortcomings of the act itself and its functioning. Both the shortcomings you have to write. Also give a way forward. Answer in 250 words. See, it is always advisable that you write your answers in your own language, but you cannot always resort to your own suggestions. Your suggestions should be coming from law commission reports or valid researches, or from some let's say there is a suggestion on functioning of some particular act that is coming from the judiciary. So that can be that can be quoted in your answers, but do not just frame a suggestion, frame a very solid suggestion and write it in your answers as your own. Do not do that. Yes, writing basic suggestions like about increasing awareness, talking about sexual offences in school against children, that can be talked about, that can be your suggestions, but solid and concrete suggestions, they need to be coming from a research or from an editorial you read, and definitely quote the source of that suggestion. So moving on to the answer, let's see how to write the answer to it. The first part of the question asks you what is the POSCO Act, what is the Protection of Children from Sexual Offences Act. So in our first paragraph of the answer, we will define what is this act. We'll talk about some 2-3 basic provisions. We'll also talk about the United Nations Convention that is there with regards to protection of violence against children. We'll talk about that also. The second part talks about what are the shortcomings of the act and its functioning. So shortcomings or what are the downsides of this act, what are the problems of this act, that will form our body paragraph 1, and the way forward part, way forward would be clubbed with the conclusion, that would form our body paragraph 2, since way forward has been directly asked. So we'll also write some concluding lines, 2 lines of conclusion in our answer, and that would that would be summed up in 250 words. So let's write about the first part, that is the POSCO Act first. So the Protection of Children from Sexual Offences Act was enacted in 2012. The act has played an instrumental role in addressing sexual offences against children, that is right. So you are basically appraising or praising the act itself. Although the Convention on Rights of Child was adopted by the United Nations in 1989, the offences against children were not redressed by any way of legislation in India till the year 2012. So there were many separate, there was CRPC is still in place, and that is used to address sexual offences against children. So yes, that was there in place, but a separate legislation was not in place. So that could happen only with the incoming of POSCO in 2012. So here you have highlighted the significance of this act, and you've also mentioned that why did India need to have a separate legislation of its own. The act is gender neutral. So when we talk about one of the most important features of POSCO, we talk about not just sexual offences against female children, we also talk about sexual offences against male children. So this is gender neutral act, and any person committing the offence, whether that's a male, female, or belonging to any other gender, all these people are covered. So the act is gender neutral and regards the best interest and welfare of the child as a matter of paramount importance at every stage, so as to ensure healthy physical, emotional, intellectual and social development of the child. And if any offence impacts any of these, it has criminal provisions against it. So moving on to the problems part of it, what are the shortcomings associated with POSCO and its functioning? First of all, there is lack of special courts in all the districts. Not all the districts have a lack of special courts. Not all the districts have a lot of special courts, or they do not have even one special court to address offences related to POSCO. And there is already a high pendency of cases in our courts, especially in the district courts. So these cases, the verdict in these cases, that gets delayed. Then you have lack of special public prosecutors for special courts, non-compliance with the timelines prescribed by the act because of the pendency of cases in the judiciary. The dates, they get pushed further and further, and hence justice also gets delayed. So the second provision is about compensation. That final compensation may find a mention in the sentence order. Interim compensation is not there. Interim compensation finds no mention in any of the orders of the special courts. And out of sexual offences, there must be many children who might have had, who might have suffered or gone through medical emergencies as well, and the mental trauma that follows, the treatment that requires that money. So interim compensation, there are no provisions with regards to that, and that needs to be focused upon. Then there is this 2020 study on child sexual abuse awareness and attitudes by World Vision India that found that only 35% children and 32% caregivers include both your parents, guardians and anyone else who is taking care of children, they were aware about the POSCO Act. So awareness about POSCO Act, basically we're talking about functioning of POSCO Act here, awareness is very less. So the awareness varied across urban, rural and tribal areas, with tribal areas obviously being the least aware and most vulnerable there also. Then you have inadequate training of various stakeholders. Sexual offences against children, they are tough to handle for the various stakeholders as well, not just one stakeholder, but all the stakeholders involved, whether it's judges, whether it's people who must be testing the children for these sexual offences. For all of them, it's very hard, and there is no special training that goes behind it. So at present, there is a lack of adequate training for many stakeholders, that is private medical practitioners. They're usually the first point of contact for child victims, but no mandatory training is provided to enable them to handle cases of child sexual abuse effectively. No training for them or for the ease or comfort of children that is happening. Then there is low conviction rate. Even though reporting is increasing with time, but still the number of convicts that we have, the number of people who actually get penalized, that is very less. So as analyzed by the Vidhi Center, this question is focusing entirely on report that was given by the Vidhi Center. Only 14% cases resulted in conviction, while 43% cases resulted in acquittal. Almost 23% of cases were disposed of by virtue of transfers from one court to another. And since POCSO cases are supposed to be tried by the special court, the report notes that transfers indicate either administrative mismanagement or wrongful appreciation of facts by the police. When you talk about inadequate training of various stakeholders, talk about police officials as well. Then now the question asks us to does ask us to give a way forward. So way forward that has to be very objective. There have been talks about reducing the age of consent from 18 to 16 years with adequate safeguards. If there is no consent, there is a certain age under this act below the age of what it is normally believed that the child cannot give consent for a sexual activity. So reducing the age of consent from 18 to 16 years with adequate safeguards. Secondly, stipulating a time limit for consideration of disbursement of interim compensation to the victim. Your problems, they can act as the way forward, give solutions to the problems that you discuss. So here we are talking about interim compensation. Then adequately trained special public prosecutors exclusively for POCSO courts where they have not been appointed, and ensure the appointment and continuous presence of support persons in every pre-trial and trial stage. Then you need to create mechanisms to enable judges and prosecutors to have the required skill set to deal with vicarious trauma they experience while dealing with cases of heinous sexual offences committed against children. So that can be talked about for medical practitioners as well. And then specifically train judges to write operational compensation to allow for timely and effective disbursement of compensation to victims. And finally, and most importantly, increase the awareness. So this was about the way forward that you can give for POCSO Act. Recently there was an article in the Hindu newspaper and it puts light on many other viewpoints as well. So if you feel that you can agree to another viewpoint, definitely quote that viewpoint in your answer. And you can quote the writers as well. If the writers are popular, definitely quote them in your answers. If they have been writing for a newspaper regularly and they are not anti-state for that matter, then 1 or 2 points can include writers also, but for that you'll have to read newspapers regularly and you'll have to understand that which writers can be quoted and which ones cannot be. Then in the conclusion, just write down that yes, POCSO is in place, it's a very ideal act, but despite its progressive provisions, the lacunae in the implementation of POCSO Act, these lacunae, they have reduced its efficacy. The perennial problem of judicial pendency, talk about this, that there is already a pendency of cases in judiciary. It has affected the POCSO special courts with pendency rising and time required to dispose cases increasing gradually. And also with the upcoming of new types of technology, the offences against children, they are increasing in variety also and in number also. So the advent of digital technologies and associated concerns like child pornography are going to make addressal of child abuse more challenging in the future. And this is what we've seen with the upcoming of latest data also, that yes, offences against children, sexual offences against children, they are rising in number, and the types in which these sexual offences occur, that is also new ways are emerging due to the advent of this digital technology. So just say the right in a way forward that the recommendations that have been given in this answer, they can serve as a way forward. The above recommendations, if implemented, can go a long way in addressing the issues with the functioning of POCSO Act. Also, feel free to write any of the recommendations on your own. There must be examples in the regional newspapers that must be floating where POCSO Act has been brought to use over time. So have at least 1 point of your own, 1 to 2 points of your own, where you can talk about different applications of POCSO Act, and you can give at least one way forward of your own. So yes, this is the entire answer for today. It has been uploaded on our website rajayesacademy.com. Click on the link in the description. It will take you to our website. Look for question 171 and share your answers with us as soon as possible so that we can respond back to you with our feedback as early as possible. I'll see you with another discussion of Seize the Mains on Monday at 9 p.m. Till then, take care, keep working hard, and all the best.